Hello, what's going on YouTube? This is Chaos-Reighn here. Today I'm here to show you a different build variant of my iceshot deadeye. I will be showing off basically a 3.12, 3.11 build variant of this build in particular, and as such I will be going over why I am choosing to just make a quick little, adjustment to my playstyle and to, you know, this new setup. Now, although I swear by Farshot and I swear how great it is, I will tell you this. Farshot has its downsides. Well, so does this build, but Farshot's downsides are few and far between, one of them being the fact that, one, you have to be able to hit a stationary target, and when they move, the Farshot basically shoots in a straight line, so you get no spread. Ergo, you will not be hitting your enemy. So this build, this variant, is actually a little bit different. We are using the Chin Soul with the Void Fletcher Quiver, and we are doing a corruption with lightning damage because we are trying to add as much light flat as we can. We actually re-rolled our gloves from being a pseudo 6 link to being a 5 link that also happens to have some flat lightning, flat fire, and AoE with the veiled mod and flat lightning here. We're doing this because we want to shock as much as possible, shock and ignite as much as possible, and since we're critting very often, we are going to basically getting the full benefit and full value from our taming rings. On top of that, we have now basically unspec'd this node, unspec'd this whole side of the tree down, and went up into this to get some more damage reduction. If you don't want the damage reduction, you can actually go here and have 2 more Mirage Archers, and then maybe do the whole Mirage Archer setup that I did last league. Or you can go here for Focal Point, which says 75% increased effect of your marks. As you know, we are applying Sniper's Mark for an insane multiplier. 75% increased effect of that makes them take even more damage. But I felt like I was doing enough damage, so I took more damage reduction, making me a little bit better off against bosses. Our boots are a very, very well-rolled pair of boots. These things are incredible. They give me mana so I can reserve more precision. I hit them with an int essence, and then I got lucky with double veiled chaos orbs, hitting the T2 fire res and the strength int with the movement speed veiled modifier. I actually end up exalt summing via harvest the tier 1 mana, which made these boosts just all the better. They are synthesized with 8% movement speed, and the enchantment I chose is Penetrate. For my gloves, as you saw, we have a Headhunter, Hero's Ire, Chin Soul, Void Fletcher, Double Taming, Azanath's Chant, and a Hero's Truth. Now, a lot of builds that I saw were using either the Maloney's Fallacy, which if you use that, you have to make up your base crit from multiple places, including using a level 20 precision. And it's not that hard, especially with these boots, to do, but Maloney's Fallacy also makes it so you have to invest extra into your crit. I felt that this was the better choice because this opens up a gen slot, basically giving me level 22 hatred, and reserves 50% less with hatred, allowing me to use a level 20 precision. On top of all of this, we are using technically 3 6-link setups with Awakened Hex Touch Frostbite LE Weakness, followed by Enhanced and Searing Arrow Herald of Ice. So basically we're able to apply both curses with both of our clear skill and our single target. Our single target also making it so they take more projectile damage. So on top of all that, the Chin Soul itself has bows knockback at close range, meaning enemies that are not in-game bosses will be knocked back and most likely be pushed into a corner or die instantly with all the extra more multipliers that we have on this build. The fact that we are using this also means we can use the Emperor's Grasp if you guys ever have used them. They are basically, they say knockback is reversed, making enemies be pulled into your hits instead of being knocked back from you. These are extremely powerful gloves. I would recommend trying them before you can get a crafted pair of gloves, but just be careful because you will end up dying. Our passive tree, as we said, is pretty much, our ascendancy is pretty much just a little bit of a tweak. Other than that, You can do what you want. We go into our passive tree. Everything is the same as we had it before. I'll go over excuse me, my jewels. A fragile bloom with corrupted blood. Fragile bloom gives you a massive amount of life regen per second per fragile regrowth. This life regen counters blood rage entirely. We managed to snag a corrupted blood one for about 20-30 chaos early on in League, and we left it there because blood rage is quite annoying to deal with, and this literally answers it by itself. For our next jewel, we have a small cold res cluster with a little bit of all res, max ES, mana regen, and a little bit of armor. That way we can just kind of get our cold res capped really easy. However, if you can't tell, I don't really need all this. I'm probably going to drop this cluster and save points. I'm just but being overcapped never hurt because LE weakness is a thing. We are only using one Inspired Learning. We are using this whole side of the tree for the crit, this whole side for the attack speed, the accuracy, herbalism, excuse me, winter spirit, lethality, thick skin, freedom of movement, wind dancer, and then point blank to add to our chin soul's damage. Yes, these do stack. Yes, you will be able to delete enemies very easily. We are also using a 7 passive voices with a crit cluster, using Unholy Might and pressure points for the double damage. We have a lightning cluster with more lightning res and attributes. We're using a non-damaging element cluster with blast freeze and cold conditioning. Sorry, cold conduction. Cold conduction makes it so we shock. Even though we do crit shock, this is basically more consistent, with blast freeze making our freezes spread to enemies, and a dodge attack hits cluster. This node gives us 5% chance to dodge attack and spell hits while we're moving, and more movement speed. Ideally, when I drop my other 2 passive cluster, I will be putting in another one of these. This, while moving, will give us even more dodge, going up to 60% dodge while moving, which is incredible, making it so we're near dodge cap by itself. Our last jewel is a repeater and streamlined jewel. Currently it is a repeater with that and then streamlined. However, ideally you want to run repeater eye to eye. A lot of the builds I see that use this actually don't run eye to eye. If you decide to run repeater eye to eye, I recommend 2 to 3 clusters. If you have them already rolled, this will basically throw your damage into overdrive, making it so you will multiply the damage enough times that you're just deleting all in-game content. In the future of this build, I will fix it and make it so this is reality. Lastly, we have a strength and split personality. However, it's literally not needed anymore. As you see, because of our boots, we don't need it. We just haven't found a good jewel to replace it. Partially because we've been in standard. Excuse me for my clearing my lungs out. I'm just having a little bit of an issue. We do have a little bit of mana leech in the form of this node down here. And a lot of our life leech comes from this node here. And the fact that we have blood rage. On top of the blood rage, we also happen to have Replica Hiri's Truth. Well, without further ado, let's go see what we can do about our Conqueror, shall we? Now, in a lot of my builds, as you saw, I had basically the issue of my character dying while I had Blood Rage on. With the Fragile Bloom, we have the regeneration at 10 stacks to basically retain our Blood Rage, and it actually over-regens to a point to where even if our Blood Rage is ticking down, as our Bloom stacks go back up, we will start to basically, you know, if you can't tell right there, we'll start to basically supersede our our cap there and be just fine. So on top of being able to freeze enemies at 100% of the time of my hits, I also almost always crit because of my high innate crit chance, and I always knock back now because of my bow. So the bow knockback adds a huge layer of defense, basically meaning any enemy who is close to me will never hit me because they are being knocked back, and any enemy who is far away from me will basically be chilled and frozen and will die before getting to me. Ranged enemies are usually not my problem, and close enemies usually just get chilled, frozen, and knocked back into oblivion, so they can't really do much. As you see there, the only thing that hit me was one of those ranged enemies. Once I do finish up this league-based build, I will gladly share with you guys, where I took it and what exactly is the roof of it. At least until I'm out of currency, which I'm almost there. But it is very fun so far, and as I have tested it on bosses, I do recommend you try it. One of my friends, I actually put one of my friends onto this build, who is posting a couple of videos. If I remember, or if he reminds me, I will definitely upload a video or upload a link to his channel so you guys can kind of see it. I'm just here taking advantage of the fact that I have nothing really to do in League, and I felt like doing this. Ooh, excuse me. There's my allergies taking effect. Sorry, this has been a little bit longer of a map. Unfortunately, this is the map that I randomly chose for me. Alrighty then. Let's go ahead and drop a portal. So first what we're going to do is we're going to stand a little bit close to him, but not too close so he can just like swing at us. We're going to start applying our curses. As you can see, we have 3 curses, or 2 curses and a hex, should I say. And our split arrow itself is actually doing an insane amount of damage, and I haven't even done anything yet. So if you give me a second, now I can go over here and do this. This is our single target DPS, and he's dead. Now this isn't the roof of the build. As I said, I am missing up to 3 eye-to-eye clusters. Eventually what I might do is I might roll some of those. That ring ain't half bad. That's pretty good. I like that ring. Wow. Anyway, I will roll a eye-to-eye jewel, or like at least 2 or 3, just to show you guys the roof of this build, along with finish off a couple of things that I need to finish off for, making it, just to push it a little bit higher in DPS. As you saw there, Baron was literally not an issue. However, Baron does have a lot less of armor than some other bosses, so I will be definitely damage testing my damage versus Cyrus after this video, just so I can kind of make sure I don't embarrass myself or whatnot. Just kidding. Just so I can make sure I can take my time. What I'm probably going to end up doing is I'm going to put Cyrus on. I'm going to test my damage before the eye-to-eye clusters. I'm going to go, if I die, I'm going to go and I'm going to roll for 3 to 4 eye-to-eye clusters, hopefully decent ones with good rolls, and I will go into like the second portal a lot buffer, a lot stronger, just so I can kind of get everything out and, normalized for what I should expect in my DPS. Now, I will say again that I have played this build before, and it is not really new. I think it might be new to my channel, but the point blank slash Chinso combination is very huge because you get 50% more on here and 30% more on your point blank. That is strictly speaking more damage than far shot. On top of it, it's a lot easier to detect how much damage you do, because if you're right next to them, you're always going to be doing 80% more damage with your hits. Now, the way this multiplies with everything else, this is 80% more damage with all of your hits, including with your Hydrosphere, including, I don't, let me see, with arrow hits, not Hydrosphere, including with your Void Fletcher, I'm sorry, because Void Fletcher does fire Void shots, and they end up, they end up being arrow hits, and the Hydrosphere itself helps the whole just kind of chaining DPS all together along with those void shots. Obviously we have no Pierce. I actually had Pierce on my gloves if you remember my old video, and I spent 2 exalts to re-roll them with a Veiled Chaos Orb. Got really lucky hitting T1 flat fire and T3 lightning, flat lightning. I really just wanted the +2 to AoE without the Pierce, so my void shots would not, go flying behind the enemy. I ended up really happy with the results, so that's fine. So yeah, if you guys do want to see the future of this build, or you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please feel free to like, subscribe, and if you want to see more of my league-based videos or even my build guides, please let me know. I am totally down to hook you up with some info. If there's any questions on any links or anything like that, I can just kind of go over them real quick. I know I've already been over these. This is just a recap. If you're at this point and you don't want to watch me just go over these, you're free to dip out. Thank you very much, so much for watching. You guys have a good one, and take it easy.